Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for coming out. It's nice to see all you here. My name is Sean Rainwater. I'm the co-department head for science. And this is Jim Smith, Sally Anderson for math. And I'll talk to you here in a few minutes about math. So I'll go through my little song and dance, minus the song and the dance, luckily for you, about science. Science is pretty simple. There's two classes for sophomore year. So if you were here when you listened to Mr. Allen in the gym, he was talking about, unless you're coming from out of the district, it's either biology or pre-IB chemistry. Okay. One thing I'll let you know right now, if you take pre-IB chemistry, you've met prereqs for every other science class here at England. So if you take pre-IB chemistry, you're green-lighted for all the other science classes. So you won't have to take anything else to get into a certain class. If you take biology sophomore year, there are a few classes that you would have to take an extra class to get into. Okay? So if we look here, here's all our offerings. Those few classes I'm talking about, so if you take biology your sophomore year, and you want to decide you want to take IB biology, you're going to have to take chemistry before that. Chemistry is a prerequisite for taking IB biology. And first year or introductory chemistry is also a prereq for IB chemistry. So either of these two, you've got to have some chemistry. Okay? So and sometimes, most of the time, the folks in these two classes are going to come from pre-IB chemistry, most of the time. But sometimes we do have students that their sophomore year take biology and they've decided they want to take those too. It's easier with IB chemistry because that's just a one-year course. IB biology is a two-year course, but a student could take biology their sophomore year, chemistry their junior year, and then just year one of the IB biology course. So that's an option too. They wouldn't complete the 2 years, but that's fine. They'd have a year of an advanced science class. So. All right, the ones with the 2Y next to them are 2-year courses. It's not required that you take 2 years, but it's encouraged that if that's the goal that you have. You want to take it for both years. So that's just their IB Physics, IB Design Tech, and IB Biology. And then we've got, like I said, IB Chemistry is 1 year IB course, and then IB Sports and Exercise Science is also a 1 year IB course. Okay. And then the ones with the asterisk, if you can see at the bottom there, those are the ones that you've got to have either Alg 2 Trig, previously or something higher, or you are enrolled at the same time that you are taking. Okay. All right, so a little introduction here. The IB chemistry, or the pre-IB chem class, sophomore year, is a more rigorous class than biology. It's designed to challenge you more. And it's the class, barring, there's exceptions to every rule, but in general, if you're planning on taking IB science classes, you should probably be thinking that your sophomore year you want to take pre-IB chemistry. Because it's going to give you a good idea of what the workload is going to be like. And what the challenge level will be. So, and it's generally easier to figure that out in your sophomore year. If it's, hey, I really like this, or you know what, this is more work than I want to put into science. My passions lie elsewhere, and I've got all these other things going on. So, that would be my suggestion. If you're thinking IB science in the future, it's generally a good idea to go with pre-IB science. So, I teach biology right now. I have all sorts of kids in my biology class that would do fine in pre-IB chemistry. So there's there's this hardest course on the Western society. There's this rumor out there. So we've got scores of students buried under the 800 building from imploding from the class. Well, it's not that bad. So, and actually the class has gotten quite a bit easier over the past, I shouldn't say easier, I should say, less rigorous. There you go, that sounds better. So, but it's not as challenging as it used to be. It's still a challenging class. It will still push them, but like I said, it's a real good preparation for IB science classes. Okay. So now, not talk too long so I could answer some of your questions. Yes, sir?
Sounds like the physics, the IB physics, IB biology are both 2 years.
Yes.
Wouldn't, if you want to get more balance and you're not sure exactly you want to go on a life science or a physical science kind of path in your career, why not, can you do both, 1 year of each, or is it more recommended to choose 2 years of each?
Let's see. I think the big advantage long-term, if science is a potential field, is the nice thing is you're really getting into depth in one area. And the universities, in terms of granting their credit, so which they'll do for certain scores on IB exams, you've got to complete the 2 years. So, and I think as a science teacher preparing kids to do well at the university level, it's just great to get those 2 years and really get a firm basis, at least in one area.
Yeah, it's a shame not to have any physics.
It is. It's the downside of that. Yes, sir.
So you can take double sciences, I think. They allow that. For example, like I have a friend who's taking IB biology year 2 and IB physics year 1 her senior year. And for her junior year, she took IB biology 1 and she took IB chemistry as well. And that's what as well. So you can take double, but I think it's definitely like a lot of work and you should really talk to counselor about it.
Yeah, thank you. And that could be, well, Core 24 things are a little bit different. Yeah, I talked to the counselor to see if we could fit those things in. We used to have a little more flexibility, but now, Core 24, our wiggle room is a little bit less. It's a little bit less. All right, another question? Yes, ma'am.
So the science test, state test is changing.
Yes.
So does pre-IB Chem include life science standards, or if somebody goes pre-IB Chem and then to IB physics, are you missing life science standards and then at a deficit for taking the state test?
No, I mean, pre-IB Chem has a biology component in it.
That covers all those life science?
Gets them ready. I think our pass rate for that class is pretty close to, it's 95 to 100% passing rate.
But it's a new test.
Well, not yet.
For these guys, it will be.
No, we still have the EOC. The NGSS is coming.
Right. Well, I teach in another district. The word is that these guys will take it in 10th grade and then take their NGSS in 11th grade. Is the last thing I heard.
Right.
Could change, I know
Right.
that. I just don't want to send my kid down a path
Yeah.
not prepared for it. That's all my question.
Right. Yeah. No, and I would say, the pre-IB Chem is going to get them
Okay.
as well, if not more prepared than the regular bio. So. Yes, sir.
Geometry required for pre-IB Chem?
Geometry isn't required. A strong math background is recommended. Yes, yeah. So and that was for pre-IB chemistry. Good grades could be misleading. It's just are they able to really understand science at a higher level? And mathematical thinking will help too. So I think sometimes, in general, it's good if they have good grades in science, but sometimes at the junior high level, they can have stronger grades that they're able to boost up a lot more with just getting all their work in and stuff. So they're going to just have to be able to understand it in pre-IB. Next question. Yes?
Can you define rigorous a little bit more? Like, what does it translate into as far as how much homework, how much time are they spending studying?
Yes, let's see now. I would try, I'll go back a few years. So I used to teach pre-IB Chem, or I taught it for a couple of years. My guess would be hours per week working on it. I guess 3 to 5, somewhere in there. So in general. And that's coming down just because there's all these other courses these kids have to study for. We're trying to prune the homework. So, because especially with IB, it's that way across the board. So that's a big concern for us.
As opposed to what we say about
Biology, if they are focused, the homework will be almost none. So there will be almost no homework in biology. So it's really designed to get everything done in class.
So what kind
Yes.
of percentage of the young and sophomore drop out of class or fail class?
Drop. How many drop into biology? What percentage?
Fail class.
Oh, how many fail?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know off the top of my head. I don't think it's a lot. It's usually what happens if they're really struggling, so they'll transfer out into biology. So if they're really having a hard time. So they'll get a handful of students in there it's just, but I mean, when I taught it, I had students that they were probably over their head in terms of content, but they still got through the class. They just buckled down, worked hard, and they got through it. And they passed. It wasn't easy for them. So, usually the ones that struggle grade-wise in that class, it's more about just getting the work done.
So any program after school can, tutor the kid or help the kid to get
We used to have some tutors available. I don't know if we have it now. So the counselors would know about that. They're the ones that set up all the tutoring. So the teacher usually has a help session at least one day a week for students to come in. And then actually the great thing about the class has been in the past is that it's very, students will form study groups and work together and help each other out. So which is fantastic. So, if your students I push them to do that. And especially if they're the ones doing the explaining, because they get a lot more out of it than the ones that are explained to. So they get a lot more out of it when they're the ones explaining it to their friends. That's so important. Yes, ma'am?
I have a math question.
Okay, we'll get to that.
It's 4 minutes.
Okay. So I've been, sorry, and if you have other questions for me, I'll be here after the whole thing. For a while, if you want to come in, if you didn't get your questions answered, you can come on in or a couple minutes after that. All right, thank you, folks.
Okay, for math, it's relatively simple. For sophomores in the junior highs in large are either in algebra right now or they're in geometry right now. And the next class for them is just down the road. Algebra, if you're in algebra now, the next class for you is geometry. If you're in geometry, the next class for you, well, there's some choices. If you're doing fine in math, you didn't really have any troubles in algebra 1, and you're doing fine on the algebra topics that are covered in geometry, then the normal path is to go right into algebra 2. Okay? If you're really doing really well in all the math classes, and you're ready to do algebra 2 as a sophomore, which is what the advanced kids are doing, that is over here for the algebra 2 trig class. Now the trig class is designed, it goes at a faster pace than the algebra 2 class. They both have trigonometry in them. But this one's a faster paced class and it's designed to get you ready to go into these classes, which are the higher level math classes, and specifically ready for an IB diploma class, which would be our pre-calculus, IB pre-calculus, and on to IB calculus class. That's what this IB trigonometry is, pre-IB trigonometry is for. If you're struggling as a math student, if you had some troubles and you're not sure about ready for Algebra 2, we offer this class, which is a Bridges class. It's designed for the weaker math students to get them ready to do Algebra 2 for graduation. It's a stepping stone to get them ready. And if you're a weak student, we strongly encourage going directly to the Bridges and not into Algebra 2 and then having to drop back. It's not a really good idea to do that. Some students are coming out of their, as sophomores, they'll take geometry, and then as juniors and seniors, they're really interested in getting into some of our WANIC classes, the career path classes that are taught in the district and some of the surrounding colleges. And they'll end up going into some career-based math that the math department doesn't even teach. We don't teach those. Okay, we teach the algebra stuff, and this is one that's designed specifically for one of those WANIC career classes. And we don't have anything to do with that, so that's go talk to the counselors for it. But that's going to be something that people will take, typically after they complete geometry.
Pardon the interruption. It's now time to move on to the third and final session. Please make your way to the third and final session.
Yeah, come on up.
Go on up. Thank you very much, Reed. We're still short.